Hey everybody, and welcome to the Musician's Musician. I am your host, Nick Costa, and today is one of my absolute favorite episodes I've done yet. I got to talk to my dear friend, Wyatt Overman, about the band we both grew up loving, and the reason why we got into music, blink-182. Wyatt and I met many lifetimes ago when he was in a band called The Voice of Sleep. His band was kind of like a Sigur Rós, but with vocals kind of thing, and they were so good. We would always play shows together at this place called Coffee House Live, which was an after-hours venue in like a preschool, the Hudson YMCA in Hudson, Wisconsin. It's a venue that I played many times and often got yelled at for smoking outside of. Over the years, we kept in touch, and I followed his music, which I still love so much to this day. If you're in the Twin Cities and you play guitar, you probably have heard of Overman Guitars. That's because they do the best guitar repair that you can possibly ever get. A lot of folks don't seem to focus on Wyatt's songwriting and playing, though, which is incredible. He's an incredible musician. There's a song of his called Island that you can find on most streamers. That happens to be my favorite of his. He's done a few versions of that one over the years, and they're all great. I'm a little sad that there's not the previous version of it anywhere, because I love that one as well, but the new version is so gorgeous and so ethereal and just incredible orchestration, and his voice and like the production, and it's just really, please go listen to that. That is such a good song. Wyatt and I reconnected a few years after the whole YMCA gig thing, and we became really good friends. We ended up working together at a few different guitar shops, and one of the things that we really bonded over, one of the many things we really bonded over, really, was the fact that we were both total fucking nerds about Blink-182 as kids. So we talk a lot about Blink in this episode, obviously, but the conversation ends up being a little bit more about how the band found us at such a formative time and helped shape us into who we are now, how we listen and write music. It was just really fun to talk about this and catch up with Wyatt. Before we get into the interview, I just want to say that I have my first single from my new album coming out tomorrow, which is why this is coming out a day early. It's the first music I've released, with words at least, since my album Sunbleach came out 3 years ago. So I'm really excited to start sharing this stuff. I've been sitting on it forever. We are going to be announcing a vinyl pre-order campaign thing in a little bit as well, so stay tuned for that. But please go listen to my song on Friday. I'm really stoked. It's called Thunder. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. So anyway, now that I've self-promoted enough, let's get into it. So long to gold records. Here's a gold star. Some credit to show you how talented you are. Chart stoppers, for some they're heart stoppers. They'll never get played at the ball, but they're not making records for dancing after all. Okay.
Oh yeah, there it was.
There it is. All right, I am with my dear friend Wyatt Overman. Wyatt, thank you for being a musician's musician. We are going to talk about something that is near and dear to both of our hearts, which is Blink-182. But before we get into that, what's new? What's new with Overman Guitars? What's new with your music? I haven't heard a new song from you in quite some time. What's new? What's going on? Is there stuff in the works?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I've been writing a lot, like in the last few years, but I have not rehearsed with anybody. I haven't really demoed anything other than, some voice memos, which they're sort of getting out of control because you see how many you're making and then you're forgetting everything. And even when I label them, I forget. I completely forget everything. Yeah. But, that's still like every time I'm playing and I'm like singing something, I get this feeling where I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I should be doing. Like I feel more stable when I'm creating and like releasing things. And it's just been really hard. It's like every time I find a moment to do anything, I usually don't want to touch a guitar. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. You're doing that all day, every day.
Yes. So I'll be like playing my guitar at home, and instead of thinking of like the song or the melody or like how it's making me feel or what I want to get out, I'm like, oh man, this could use a new nut, or like maybe I should change the strings, or like the board feels. Yeah, it's kind of
the curse.
Can we swear on here?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, and I got to get over it because I feel like lately I've been having like a lot of emotional stuff where I'm just like, I feel pent up, and I want to like get it out, and I know that that's what I used to do with songs. It's like I could like get rid of something and then, you know, revisit it here and there. But now I just kind of feel like it's constantly building up. So I do have a goal set of this summer of releasing one song.
Yes.
So
great.
I'm going to try to do something. But yeah, I haven't released anything since, it was like 2019. I released like that remastered and remixed version of a song, and like that was it. Otherwise, I played piano on a friend's song, and then I did some guitar riffs and stuff on one of Holly's songs, and that's pretty much it. But like I haven't done anything on my own, so it's like I gotta get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I love your tunes. I've always loved your music, so I'm very thrilled to hear that. At least you're writing, and that we'll get something this year, and I'm going to bug you about it.
Oh, yeah, actually, hold me accountable. And thank you so much. It's very kind.
I will, yeah. There's some, like, I know exactly what you're feeling, though, because, like, right now I'm dealing with a neighbor who plays music so loudly, and, like, I can't record anything outside of, like I can do a quick video. I can't even use the voice memo app on my phone because like the microphone it stopped working. So like it only works if I have a front facing video going, and only on like the camera app and not like any other app, which is really weird. So like I don't understand why, but so I have all of these songs that are like in my notes app and done, and I'm like desperately clinging on to them. Like, God, don't forget that. Like, please, just don't forget it.
Yes, same.
And it's the worst. It's the worst because I just want to like.
It is.
At least get it like a rough thing down.
Yeah.
But like the neighbors constantly playing like terrible electronic music, and so it's just like there's like really sad song about the state of the world that's like really slow and reverby, and then just in the background just.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
You got that the LA music in the back.
Oh boy. Do I ever.
Is it DJ type stuff?
I feel like some of it is, and then some like it's all over the place. Very eclectic. Listening. Yeah. But yeah, so there's like a really terrible frustration when you just like can't. That's like how I know I've always like expressed myself, and I can't do it.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just like, gah! I just feel like I'm like a ball of anxiety just walking down the street, and then and then at the same time, people are like, "Wow, have you seen the news today?" It's like, no, I don't want to see the news today.
Yeah, exactly. It makes everything so much worse.
Yeah.
Don't show me anything. I know.
No.
It's, oh my God, I know.
Well, what about with Overman Guitars? I mean, you're always busy in general. Like you're you guys are doing great. But like with builds and stuff like that, I know you've kind of hinted at a few things.
Yeah.
So, are you able to talk about anything? If you're not, I get it.
Yeah. No, for sure I can. Yeah, we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Right now we have this plan to launch these electric builds, and it's they're kind of wild. it's something that like I was trying to design for a few years, and I could never settle on like an exact body shape, like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we settled on a body shape, and it is very similar to like an existing body shape, but it falls within like a smaller dimension.
Okay.
And I want to make them, they're going to be flat on the top. And then on the back, you get like the fender belly contour type thing.
Oh, cool.
But I wanted to make something that like when it's against your body, it kind of feels like there's nothing there. Like it's just like a, you know, like I'm doing like a little, I don't know if you can see it. But, you know, like a little,
Sure.
And we wanted to do like these different tiers where there's an entry level that is made out of a construction like upcycled material, and that one is sort of like the workhorse, like, you know, beat the fuck out of it, play it, but it's still gonna be great. It's gonna have like all of the little things that through repairing we've decided are like the best way to approach, you know, a certain build. So like there's the construction model, that's the lowest tier, and then we're gonna have a middle tier that'll be we're doing fabric with epoxy over it. So it looks like glass, but then like the fabric pattern will hopefully match the headstock. So we're going to do like a matching headstock with fabric.
Amazing.
It's going to be really, yeah. And then the highest tier, like the more expensive one that we're only going to try to do 3 to 4 of them a year. I want to do them seasonally. And that is like a found materials version.
Okay.
Where we are doing seasonal, like a fall version will have certain things found in nature, you know, immersed in this epoxy, which there is like a strange, I'm still kind of torn on it all because I feel guilty about taking something that you find in nature and then encasing it in a plastic layer forever. But it is a material that is dying. Like it is an organic thing that I'm not taking something that's alive and killing it in the epoxy. It's something that, you know, is dead or is dying, and I'm trying to preserve it to sort of, you know, honor it, I guess.
Yeah, no,
and those
they're not mass produced either, so it's not like you're you know, like making 1,000 of these things and just like destroying the planet. Like it's like a couple of leaves or something, you know, it's fine.
Yes, that's exactly it. And those are the ones I'm the most excited about because we have one. I'm looking at the body. It's right over there, and it's really, really pretty, and it's really unique. And I'm just trying to make with these different models, you know, I'm trying to put a little bit more of the art like back into the instrument. Yeah. Because I feel like a musician's, their music and their art and their creating is so personal. And I feel like I would love to be able to give them something that is equally as personal and equally as one of a kind. Yeah. Where it's like, if you see something and you're like, that speaks to me like so much, and there is only one of them in the entire world. Right. Like, I just feel like marrying the two together, like putting them together and having it be putting that art into the function instead of it being like, here's a line of our guitars, we're making thousands of them, they're all exactly the same, and then the person has to, you know, mod it and make it like this entirely different thing. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I'm really excited about those. We have 2 of them at the spray booth right now, and then one of them is here. The body's done on that one. And then that's for the electrics. And then for the acoustics, we're trying to do a launch soon. And that one, I'm trying to figure out like how much I can talk about that one because we're still waiting to do the possible interview and all of this stuff. Sure. Don't give away anything you can. But that one is, I'm really excited about that one because the acoustic builds feature a pickguard design that is, I think, really unique and special to me. And I just feel like moving forward, all of our acoustics will have that. And we'll probably just do 2 designs of the acoustic, one with this pickup thing that we have been inventing at the shop, and then another one that's kind of just like basic acoustic with that same pickguard design. But the hope is to launch the acoustic first, and we were hoping to do that before like April or May. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of tied into, a bigger album release thing that we're a part. It's like a whole thing that I don't know how much. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one that I know we can't say too much about. So but maybe when we stop recording, maybe when we stop recording, I'm going to ask you a couple things. But
oh yeah, and I'll show you some things. I'm looking at them right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But anyway, that's all very exciting. I'm just, I don't know, I'm so thrilled. Every time I see somebody giving you praise or like seeing that you're like doing something incredible, I'm just like, hell yeah, that's my boy. There we go.
Oh man, thank you so much.
I love seeing it.
Well, it's not, it's you too. That's the thing. That's like what's so great about it is like I didn't know what I was going to do after I graduated, and I was super lost. And I remember I was like, I can just remember it so vividly, and I'm about to like get into the shower at like my Northeast house, and you're texting and you're like, hey, do you want to come work at this guitar shop and like change strings and like just get started? And I remember being like, oh my God, like, are you serious? And then I wouldn't, like from that conversation and from, Group City with you, it's like, yeah, that is what started everything for me. So it's like without our friendship and knowing you for so long, I might still be working in watch repair at Macy's.
Which is where we like reconnected, by the way.
Yeah, which is so crazy.
Of all the like, I don't know why I was at a Macy's. What am I doing there? And then I'm just walking out and I'm like, Wyatt?
Yeah. And I saw you and I was like, Nick, is that someone I know? Like, why am I here? Why do I work at a Macy's?
Right.
It's crazy. I'm like,
yeah. No, but I also remember that very vividly. So, well, yeah, I love it. It's just the best.
Love it too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel more that your success is based off of your skills, because you're genuinely the best at what you do. But we could just go around complimenting each other for a whole hour if we wanted. But
we could. Oh my God, you're the greatest.
But let's talk about something that is very special to both of us, which feels silly to say. Exactly, blink-182. But at the time, it was like such a huge thing for people of our generation, I feel like. And I usually ask this question. I very vividly remember my answer to this question, but do you remember the first time that you heard Blink?
Yeah.
What was it?
Absolutely. My sister is 5 years older than me, and she got her license, and she was bringing me to school one day, and she had the Can't Hardly Wait movie soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
And Damn It is on there. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were in the car, and that soundtrack is kind of a hodgepodge of like a lot of different like genres. And then that came on, and I remember being like, whoa, like, like what the fuck is this? Mm-hmm. And she always had her EQ in the car turned, like the bass was always all the way up. And she might have had like a subwoofer at that time, but damn it, it's like, it's so overly distorted in a great way. Like there's just, I'm still like not entirely sure how they captured the guitar. Cause in that song, it just sounds different than any other song on the record. It's just like, so like right in your face. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like, that is the coolest riff I've ever heard. And like, what is that? I didn't know what riff was back then. So I was like, that is the coolest noise. I was like, what is that? And then that was it. And then I remember asking her for the soundtrack and like trying to borrow it, and she never would let me. And I took the jewel case and I read the back, and I was like, damn it, Blink-182. Like, what is that? That's a weird name. Like 182 of what? Like I'm just a kid. I think I was like 11. It's just that was the first time I heard him.
Wow. It's such a profound thing. I feel like there's something about Blink, and especially like that era, that kind of Dude Ranch, Enema of the State thing, where it's like, you know, we hear all of this music as kids that's like very, very like pop forward, and stuff on the radio and stuff like that. And then you hear something like Blink where it has those sensibilities, but like this energy that is just so different than anything else that you've heard at that point in time. Like not different in this, like those pop punk bands that have been around for, 40 years or whatever. There's probably a Descendants fan listening to this being like, justice on their name. Yeah. But like, but I don't know. There's it's such a I feel like there's a lot of people about our age who are like, oh yeah, I remember the first time I heard Damn It, or like even What's My Age Again, like,
that
was a big moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, from there, it was just like, I tried to track any of that down, from the Damn It. I was like, well, how can I find this? And we had that, it was called like Record Town in our mall in Bemidji. And they didn't have anything from them at that time, because it was before Enema, and they didn't have Dude Ranch, and like that was it. So then I was like, okay, well, I've got this one CD with this one song on it. Yeah. And I was just, trying to find more, like, immediately.
Yeah. So it was probably not even until Enema of the State came out that you were able to find anything from them, right? I was late. I was late to the game. I was Enema because that came out when I was like 10. And like, same thing. My older brother is 5 years older than me. And he like went to a sleepover one night at his friend's house, and he came back the next day and he had Enema of the State, and he was just like, you and me are going to listen to this entire thing right now. Don't tell mom. And like, we just sat around my little boombox, just like real close, and like turned it up loud enough where like, we could hear it and like feel the energy about it, but like quiet enough where mom couldn't hear the swears, Yes. And then eventually we didn't care. The second we were like obsessed, my mom was like, there's nothing we could do. And I was just playing like the Mark, Tom, and Travis show at full volume in my room.
Oh my God. Yes.
Looking back on that now, it's just mortifying, but
yes, it is. There's a lot on there that's,
doesn't hold up.
It doesn't hold up.
I
had a similar, I remember we were on like a road trip. There's so many stories about these miniature road trips we would go on. And I was in the back seat and I was asleep, and I had the Mark, Tom, and Travis show playing. And it was before I knew that there was like 20 minutes of secret like tracks. And I remember sleeping, and then all of a sudden it was just like, Santa Claus is going to come to your house. And I was like, and and then I'd leave it on in my room too, and then like I'd forget that was coming, and then it would come on, and my mom would be like, what are you listening to? I'd just be like, oh, it's just a comedy thing, they're funny, they're
just being goofs,
but they're just being goofs. But Enema, for me, how like that really started is I still have this leg thing with my left hip, and I was spending this summer pretty much indoors. I had just had a surgery on it, like a corrective surgery, and I remember watching TV and I saw the video for What's My Age Again, and it was around the same time that I saw them on Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place play What's My Age Again.
Yeah,
because they play in the pizza place, and they play naked. Well, naked with the
right. And
I was like, I love this. This is so great. And when I was watching the video, it was before, how like they'd always do the title card in the corner. It was before that. Like I missed that part.
Sure.
So I was like, oh my God, I love this. What is this? And then it like all came together that it was blink-182. It was the same. Damn it.
And you're like, oh my God. It's them.
I freaked out. Yes. Yeah. And then I got that record, and I remember I got it in Bemidji, and my sister, we were in Bemidji together, and we got it at Target. And I was like, can I just play this like on the way home? And she turned it off after like song 2. She was just like, no, we're not listening to that. And so I had to go like a 45-minute drive, just be like, I just heard 2 songs and I really like it. Like, what else is on there? I'm so excited. Mm-hmm. And it was just chaos after that. Like after that, I wanted a guitar so bad, and I wanted, of course, the Strat. Yeah. And I didn't know what a Strat was, and it never stopped. It like became this obsession with me. And I feel like how you were saying, our generation, our certain age group, everyone I talked to would be like, have you listened to Blink-182? Mm-hmm. And it was this whole thing, and it became like in all of our communications, it just became like a way to start a conversation or to like something to talk about. And we all felt the same way. Like we all had the same energy about it. Yeah. And I feel like something, I've talked to Johnny about it here a lot, and a few of other friends about like, why does Blink mean so much to our age group? And the thing that I keep coming back to, and I'm not sure if you feel this way, but maybe you do, it's like their friendship. Like it was like they were a band where we could see like 3 friends being really goofy and like being in a band together and skateboarding together and making music together. And it became this thing of like, if I find the right friends and we learn how to like play instruments, we can be like them.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
You know? Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of like the goal. Like once Enema came out, I was like, I want to get a guitar. I want to see if any of my friends can play any instruments, because I want to hang out with my friends, but I also want to play guitar. Yeah. And these guys do it, and I think it's attainable.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think if it was the same for me, it's definitely the reason why my brother got a guitar, and then he got one, mm-hmm. or he got his guitar, and I was just like, well, I want one. And he got like sick. He got like sick of me like sneaking into his room and playing his mm-hmm. guitar. But we were both like independently listening to Enema of the State and like pausing it like after like 10 seconds or whatever, so we could figure out like what notes it was, and then being like, okay, cool, so that's what that is. And then we play it again and be like, all right, yeah. So like that's how I learned. Like.
Yeah.
Was just like,
that's exactly it.
Yeah, yeah. Like learning the first, like learning the intro to Dumpweed was like, mm-hmm. I felt like the greatest guitar player on the planet. And then I didn't know that you could play like more than one string at a time.
Same. So I was still doing Smoke on the Water on like the low E string.
Yes, absolutely. So I was like, doing these little 1-string riffs or whatever. And then one day my brother, I remember he like barged in the room. He's just like, have you ever heard of a power chord? I was like, what? And then we were doing like 2 strings, and we didn't even do we didn't add the octave. Like we were just doing the 2. I remember having the distinct conversation of like, some guitar players use their pinky.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Like how? How could they do that?
Yeah.
Same thing. I got the tab books, and I don't even know where I got them, but I got Dude Ranch and Enema, mm-hmm. and I still have them. There's like a treasure chest thing over here. It's not a treasure chest. I don't know why I called it that. But it's like one of those toy chest things, like the big rectangular.
Yeah.
And it's full of Blink stuff.
They're full of your treasures.
That's right.
Yeah.
My treasures. But it's all Blink stuff. And those tab books are in there. And I'm not sure, I was trying to remember today, like where in the world I got them. Because it was around the same time I got Enema. And I think I ordered them off of it was some magazine or something. It was like you write a check and mail it in, and then you get the Hal Leonard or whatever.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
it was weird because it was before the internet.
Did you get like Guitar World magazine or something like that? Because I think they did.
I think it was from something like that. Yep.
Yeah. I would go to Mars.
And that's how I learned.
I'd go to Mars Music, which is, that's ancient. Like that's a relic of the past. But it was like Guitar Center. Like for some reason, there was 2 Guitar Centers. Basically, there was Mars Music and Guitar Center, and they were the exact same. But Mars Music had these like bins of guitar tab books, and they were like, it was a huge section. I would just go and be like, Dad, can I get this? Dad, can I get this?
Yes.
And like, I had Enema of the State because we were obsessed with it. And I got Take Off Your Pants and Jacket when it came out. And I remember going to my dad and handing him the Dude Ranch one. Because I wanted it I wanted to know, because the riffs on Dude Ranch are fucking awesome. Like still.
They're so good. Yeah.
They're still so good. And so I remember like handing it to him, and he just looked at this bull's ass with its balls. And he was just like, put it back. Absolutely not.
Like, absolutely not. Yes.
No, we are not going to be doing that.
Yes, I think when I got it too, I was with my mom, and I was also getting Queen's greatest hits.
Yeah, okay.
Because I love Queen, Brian May, another guitar, another rabbit hole. But it was like I remember covering up the Dude Ranch cover when I walked it to the counter, and I was paying for it, but I knew that Dude Ranch was explicit, and I knew that she'd have to but I knew that if he took off the fucking plastic contraption around the CD, because remember they had the giant, it was a box around the CD.
Yes.
And I knew that if you took that off and scanned Queen first, that when it got to Dude Ranch and he was like, is it okay if your son, my mom would just be like, yeah, you're already scanned the first one. So I was like,
wow,
let's go. I was so excited. I don't think she ever saw the cover, because I think I opened it and immediately reversed it, which I think on the inside it's not any better. It's like them in a wash tub, naked. It's the inside photo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
But I switched it to that because I was like, it's not a bull's ass,
Yeah. And it didn't have the parental advisory. I think my dad also looked at the back and saw there was a song called Damn It. And he's just like, absolutely not. No way. But yeah, you could get the one with that half naked nurse on it. And
right. Yeah. That one was okay. I'm sure fine. I'm sure when that one was around the house and my dad saw it, he was just like, oh, hell yeah. Just something ridiculous. That one's okay, but damn it. And that's terrible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, and we were kind of discussing how it would be we would kind of focus on Enema of the State a little bit. Right. So and I mean, I feel like we've already a little bit discussed this, but what about this album to you is the thing that makes such a lasting impression on your musical tastes and how that got you into music and how that applies now?
I was trying to think of this last night and somewhat this morning, and I keep coming back to the visual component of it because it was tied with music videos. Yeah. And that it's I was discovering music videos at the same time that record, viscerally, I remember Damn It, and What's My Age Again? I remember them running naked down the street, and then I remember all the small things and them making fun of the boy bands, and it just put such a lasting imprint in my brain of this record, and these songs, and their vision, and their comedy, and it was right at that turning point. The internet was kind of just coming out. We just got a dial-up modem, and I was trying to look up pictures of them, and the visual part of them was also so important because I was hitting puberty and I was wearing the husky jeans and the oversized flannels, and they had this style and this whole thing. And that record, it was everything to me because it was the songs and the production of the songs and the visual aspects, the music videos. it hit me at the exact right spot in my life, to be so important.
Yeah.
And it sticks with me. I listen to it a lot still, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something about the flow of it. And I love the fade ins and the fade outs where like they're using those synths and those pads and like kind of tying things together.
Mm-hmm.
And also it was the first time that I like listened to a new band where the lyrics were relatable to me at that point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was listening to a lot of classic rock leading up to that and everything. And it, I wasn't relating to the lyrics and the message or whatever I was interpreting from it. But when I heard Going Away to College, I was just immediately like, oh, okay, like I'm a total softie. Like I'm overly romantic about like everything. And this is something that speaks to that side of me. And they're a band and they're successful and it's okay to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. It like helped me like be comfortable in my own thoughts and like the things that I wanted from life. And it never went away. And it's still with me. Like it's, hopefully that made sense. I kind of rambling a little ahead.
No. It absolutely makes sense. I fully agree. And there's something specifically about Going Away to College where like, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something, and it's like a little, it's very self-deprecating, which I think is also something that I've carried with me for a long, like I found relatable, but also just been like, there's something about including that in your writing and just being like, man, I'm kind of an asshole. And and like, man, I messed this up pretty bad. But like, and like wearing your heart on your sleeve, but in your songs. And yeah, there's something I remember that song being a big one where like I would like sing it to people on like the playground because it was like sixth grade or something like that, and being like, everybody was into rap, like everybody was into Dr. Dre, and everybody was into Eminem, and then I was just like, okay, but like this album is really good though. Like you guys should really listen to this. And I'm just like on top of the fucking slide, just like preaching the gospel of Blink-182.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah,
that's exactly it.
And it's like, I'm also just in general, like I love Tom's songs, but like I'm a Mark guy.
Mark. Yep.
More often than not. And I think it's because he's just like a lot more melodic, and especially like around that time, like the Mark tunes on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, I think are some of the best Blink songs ever made.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. He was on fire on that record.
Oh, roller coaster.
Oh, thank you.
It destroys me. Like it still destroys me. That's probably my favorite song on that, or Shut the Fuck Up are probably my favorite songs on that, just because of Mark. Like you get Mark.
Right. Yeah. And like
in pure Mark form.
There are the other ones where they trade off to like Every Time I Look for You, where like that's also one of the best Blink songs. And Tom has his moments on that record, but I feel like if he would have used like the Boxcar songs on that instead of like Story of a Lonely Guy, which I actually really don't like that song. Like that song, it drives me nuts.
It's a weird one.
Like there's a nostalgia thing where when it's on, I'll listen to it, but I'm just like, this song is so stupid. Like it's just so dumb.
Yeah.
But like, if the Boxcar songs were like on that record with Mark's songs, like that would no question be the best Blink album.
Yeah, but it's a great record. That one too, I bought it, and do you remember when you bought it and it had like the little sticker, and the sticker was either green, red, or
yes,
and that would give you a clue as to what the two bonus tracks were.
Yep.
And I bought the first one, and then I immediately went back into the record store and bought the other two. So I spent like $80 because I was just like, I need those other 4 songs. Like, of course I do. And but there is like Mark. it's weird because we're both guitar players and
Mm-hmm.
we're obsessed with like the Tom DeLonge Strat and like everything that is Tom's playing.
Yes.
But the songwriting, I've always been Mark because I feel like it's more romantic and just like it's more of a it's more like open heart type stuff. It's more like, here's what I'm feeling. I'm pining over something. I'm hurt. Like where Tom, it always had more kind of like a silly vibe to me on certain records.
Yeah, it's either like silly or like very aggressive, right? Like there's like the two.
Yep.
You know, which I love. Like I love both of those too. But like, and I'm fully preparing for like the collective eye roll with what I'm about to say. But damn it, I stand by it.
Oh, God.
It's like, and I don't mean this like, you know, very, very literally, like as far as talent and influence goes, but like if you think of the Beatles, right? McCartney is like this whimsical, melodic bass player, right? And like I love McCartney songs, but then you have Lennon, who's like a little silly and very aggressive, and like all of his songs are like loud and, or not all of them, but you know what I mean, like yeah, and like I don't know. I've always kind of thought of those two like the same way. Like there's like a magic between that.
Yes.
Like, you know, they have a Lennon McCartney thing to them, not the same level of brilliance. And like, I'm not going to pretend like they would, but
it's a different thing.
It's a totally different thing. Yeah. I mean, as far as the world of like, you know, that genre of that style of pop punk music, like I don't think it gets more influential than Blink. I think
no, I don't really either.
No, there's obviously bands that influenced Blink, and they, you know, I feel like they were really good at giving credit to those bands too. Like, I don't think I would have ever listened to the Descendants or Fugazi if Tom wasn't just being like, everybody should listen to the Descendants and Fugazi.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know,
same.
Yeah.
And then seeing the Urethra Chronicles, like when I first saw that, and when they do the interview segments, each of them explaining like all their, you know, who they listen to, who you should listen to.
Yeah.
And that was like a totally, you know, opened a window for me too. But
doesn't Tom go to like a record store and then he just shows all the CDs he bought or something like that? Like I remember something about that. That might be
that sounds really familiar too.
That might be a different video. That might not be the Urethra Chronicles, but also a funny name.
Yeah, incredible.
I know both of those DVDs like the back of my hand. Normally, I watch those so much. Yeah, and it's like another. I know
they're
that
so good.
They're great, and I know that you're the same way. You're probably a little bit more detail oriented when it comes to like stuff like that, because I know that you were like fascinated on like the type of guitar. Like you told me stuff I didn't know about like the Inca Silver Strat, right? And like how that was like a prototype, and how the yellow one had a small headstock, and you know the production you know, and so it's like I don't know. I remember talking with you about it, and like, oh, wasn't there like one was a hardtail and one was a soft tail, or like one had a trem system, and so like I don't know. It was kind of that for me, watching those and just being like, what are they using? How are they doing this?
What are they playing?
How do I get one? It was even to the point because you know we were of an age where I was just like, what clothes are they wearing? Like how do I look like that? How do I sound like that? How do I be like that? Which sometimes like it's probably not the best, but
right. But when we're, you know, it was we're all trying to find like our identity at that age, and it really helped, you know, because it gave me the confidence to like just be goofy. Like when I watched Urethra Chronicles and I saw how goofy they were, and I was like, oh, okay, like that's how I am, but I usually don't show anyone that side of me because I'm afraid. And so, but like to touch on the clothes thing, I remember like immediately you know that they're wearing like Dickies, like in all their videos where they show it, and you can see the patch. And I remember asking, my parents, and just being like, do they have Dickies anywhere in Bemidji? Like, do you think we could go to Bemidji and like find some Dickies? And them being like, yeah, I'm pretty sure those are at like L&M Fleet Supply or Walmart or something. Yeah. And we'd go and I'd get a pair, but it was like, it wasn't the other Dickies that they had. Uh-huh. Like they had the shorts, and like there's two different kinds of Dickies.
Right. Yeah. No,
it was like the workwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extremely oversized, like pleated khaki Dickies, and then I'd wear those and try to feel, and it just. But yeah, they inspired on so many levels.
Absolutely.
And
I had a pair of Macbeths back in the day, not to flex too hard, but I loved those shoes.
That's pretty flex.
Yeah, they still make them. They still make them. I every like couple of months, I still just like look them up and just be like, those are cool. I could buy those right now. They're not that expensive.
Yeah.
But then I'm gonna be the guy wearing Macbeths.
This whole thing is we are just dating ourselves so bad.
Absolutely. This is just a couple of guys approaching middle age just talking about their childhood.
I almost when you were talking about Macbeths, I'm like, and we go to loserkids.com and we buy their merch.
Yeah. Or Interpunk. And
it was exclusive. It was different. Interpunk. Angry, Young, and Poor.
Angry, Young, and Poor. Not many people know. Yes. I bought a lot of stuff from Angry, Young, and Poor.
Yep. And that was the spot.
I loved it. I had a shirt that just said, "Shut up, hippie." And that was it. It was just a black shirt with white writing that says, "Shut up, hippie." And I thought that was the funniest thing I had ever heard. Until one day, I remember one day somebody was just like, "That's not how you spell hippie." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, that's spelled Hippy. Hippie is spelled Hippie. And I just never wore the shirt again. I was so embarrassed.
Just immediately. I was like, it's over.
Oh no, I was lied to.
I got a Paul Rubens mugshot shirt from there. Wow. In 9th grade. Yeah, I wanted it so bad. And it just said Pee Wee on the bottom, but it was white, and I just thought, I'm like, I need that shirt. I love Pee Wee Herman. And then everyone was just like, why do you wear that? Like, what is, and I stopped wearing it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I liked it.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Paul,
oh man.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah. I took a bunch of like little Post-it notes because I knew that I would spiral. I knew that I could talk about so many things involving Blink-182. I just didn't know like if.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's so many things to talk about with them.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know. They were such a formative thing as for me, for like my musical journey. Because like, I feel like they were the first, I mean, not I feel like, they were definitely like the first band I ever was like, I need to know everything about this. I'm going to like find and listen to everything they'd ever done. And I remember I would get Best Buy gift cards all the time for like Christmas and birthdays and stuff. And so I would go to Best Buy and just buy all the Blink albums. If they had whatever, like, oh my God, they have Cheshire Cat at this one. This is amazing. And I remember one time they had Buddha, and I was just like, this is so rare. You have no idea how rare this is.
Yes. Seeing it in the wild was like,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember my grandma taking me to Best Buy, and I found Buddha, and I was like, can we listen to it? And she's like, sure. And she put it in. She's like, I do not get it. I don't understand it, but I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, that'd be, yep.
Yeah. But I still carry that like energy whenever I hear something that I really love. I'm like, I gotta go back and I gotta listen to everything. Like even still,
Yeah.
like I did that with Gillian
Absolutely.
Welch like a couple years ago, where like I heard Time the Revelator and was just like, I gotta hear everything. I gotta hear every single thing. And unfortunately, I also did that with Steely Dan.
Oh. How long did that take?
Not that long. They don't have that many albums, but it was I found like a couple of albums that I really loved. And it was all just because I heard Dirty Work, the song Dirty Work, and I was just like, God, what a song. I gotta listen to everything. And then I got in and I was just like, this shit is weird. Like, what is happening? It was more like a spectacle to kind of go through their discography.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is so strange.
It's a journey.
It's truly a journey, but I always loved that. And yeah, Blink was the first one. It was like Blink and Foo Fighters for me.
Okay.
And then eventually it was like Green Day. You start going down the rabbit hole of like, you know, what other bands are like this. And of course, Green Day is the next logical step. And did you go to the Pop Disaster tour, speaking of?
Yes. So, so I was living in Florida. I have that like weird story where my parents decided like, we're going to put you in a different school. We have some family that live in Florida. Well, they would split up their year, like half in Minnesota and then the winter down there. And they were like, your family will only be a couple hours away, but we're going to move to Naples. And I had a friend that lived in Naples, who was also obsessed with blink-182. And she was a couple years older than me. Trisha, shout out. And she always had intel on them that like I didn't have, because she lived in a city and like had internet and all this stuff. And when she would visit us up north, she'd be like, well, have you heard this? Like, have you heard this demo? Like, have you seen this photo and all this stuff? And they were like, we're moving to Naples and you'll live right next door to Trisha and you're going to go to her high school and everything. And at the time, I also had, an insane crush on Trisha. She was into Blink-182. She was older than me. It's like, I feel like when you met somebody that was into them, you're immediately friends, but then
yes,
if you're attracted to them and everything else, like it's a different thing. But I was like, oh my God, I'm going to live next to my best friend and she's going to introduce me to all these people and I'm going to learn how to surf and skateboard or whatever. I was just immediately dreaming. And when I lived there, we went to the Pop Disaster tour. Yeah. And I saw them, I want to say that was in like February. And then we saw them in February and then we moved back to Minnesota in June. Oh. And I caught them on the tail end at the Target Center here. Yeah. So I got to see them like twice on that tour. And when I was seeing them in Florida, I ran past security and I went down on the floor and I got up to the very front. And when remember when like bouncing your pick was like the thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Like if you could bounce it and catch it, it was like a thing. And like I remember in the cafeteria, like all of us were trying to do it. And Mark bounced it and it landed like right on the other side of the rail from me. And the security guard handed it to me and I was like, oh my God,
that's so
Mark's
cool.
pick. Like, this is insane, right? And then when I saw them at Target Center, we went behind the Target Center after the show. Excuse me. And the tour bus was there. And we could see through the window that Travis was just eating. And we all went up to the window and we were like, scratching on the thing, just being like, Travis. And he opened the window and he was just like, what's up, guys? We're like, that was so amazing. Like, that was such a great show. And he was like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's so kind. And then he just was eating Taco Bell. I just remember it like we could see the wrappers, we could smell it. And I'm just like, he eats Taco Bell just like us. This is crazy. And so I saw him twice on that tour. But yeah, the first time I saw him was at Warped Tour, actually, that was my first concert too.
Warped Tour?
In Somerset, Wisconsin.
Yeah. What a first show.
They met up. Yeah, they met up with Warped Tour for one show in Somerset, and they headlined it.
I didn't know that.
And it was insane. It was stacked because it was like Rufio, Rancid, Ataris, like just everybody. But then on the main stage, Ataris were on the main stage, Newfound Glory.
Oh, yeah.
And during Newfound Glory's set, Mark came out and played
Sincerely
bass.
Me.
And then, yes.
Yeah.
And then Sum 41. And then the band that opened for them on the main stage was Alkaline Trio.
Oh, my God. What?
It was completely stacked. Yes. And I remember during Alkaline Trio, oh, dude. Right?
Yeah. The Warped Tour was just like, how was that real?
It's crazy.
And it was like $10, you know? Like, God, we're so old. But
I shouldn't have been there. I was definitely too young to be there.
Uh-huh.
And my mom drove us. I think we were all 13 or 14. And it was like 4 friends. And we stayed at like a really small hotel in that town. And she dropped us off and was like, all right, have fun. And I remember like getting there and it was just like, I felt a little unsafe like multiple times there. You know, there's a lot of drunk people doing stuff. And
right.
I was next to this guy during Alkaline Trio and he was just huge. And I remember like looking up at him and he looked down at me and I'm like, who is this? And he goes, it's Alkaline Trio. They're like Blink for grown-ups. And so I immediately was like, maybe I should pay attention to this. And I remember them playing radio and I was like, I kind of can see what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's that same aspect of like a lot of melody.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's the same
punk, but then like
the bass player sings the sappy melodic songs. Guitar player sings the angry, you know, aggressive songs. Dude. It's the same kind of vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I heard that, I mean, we can go back to kind of what you were saying, but like when I heard that Skiba was joining Blink instead of Tom, I was just like, yeah, there we go. And then the albums came out and I was like, not what I was expecting.
Yeah, not what I was expecting either. No. I feel like who was the producer on that? It was the
John Feldman.
Goldfinger. I can never remember the name. Yes, I feel like if they just kind of toned down the like trying to hit those impossibly high notes. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like on those Skiba records, it's like everyone is reaching so high.
Yes.
And it just feels like they're struggling on every song to me. And I was like, why can't they just hit that like lower, like one register down? Just try to, I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like they got that on One More Time. I still feel like that album is like wildly overproduced, like the other, like the Skiba albums, but like the songs are great for the most part. I could take away like 5 of them, but it's a long album. But anyway, I digress.
Same here.
But yeah, I remember going to the Pop Disaster Tour, which if there's people who don't know what the Pop Disaster Tour, it was Blink and Green Day, which is like wild to think about. Because I don't think they like particularly enjoyed each other.
Right. Like, I don't know what, I feel like I remember there being beef.
Yeah. And there was like,
do people still say beef?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
There was like, I remember on MTV and like TRL, they did like a group interview and you could just tell that like Green Day was just so fucking fed up with Blink's shit already. And this tour like they were announcing the tour and they were just like,
yep.
All right. And also at that time, like Mark and Tom were fighting because Boxcar had happened.
Yeah. Yep.
So like Tom's like kind of cross promoting the Boxcar album at the same time and like just the weirdest vibes. But like
I know.
You know, as like a 14-year-old kid, you're just like, this is the coolest thing that will ever happen in my life.
Yes. And then you get Jimmy Eat World or Saves the Day opening.
We got Saves the Day, which was cool because At Your Funeral was like a newer song that was like,
yeah,
we got that on like MTV2.
Yep.
And that was something that was like, okay, I might like this band, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't super into Jimmy Eat World until a little later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
same.
Yeah, there was like some like Channel 2 live performance, like a PBS live performance that Jimmy Eat World did. Mm-hmm. And it was like at like 10 at night and they played Bleed American. And I remember watching that and being like, all right, maybe this band is cool.
Yeah. Because there's some insane riffs on that record.
Oh, I love that record.
Yeah.
Still do.
That's a great record.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, I don't have too much else to really talk about, and we're running out of time, but I did want to ask, if you had to rank the Blink albums, how would you rank them?
Oh, man. This is tough, and I had a feeling that this was coming. I tried like all night and this morning too, because it's like Enema is what like got me into self-discovery and my music and guitars and like fucking everything. So I feel like I owe so much to that record. Mm-hmm. But then when I got Dude Ranch, and I feel like that record matured me more.
Yeah.
Like somehow, like with the themes, like I think thematically it's like there's more exploration on there, and like there's darkness, and there's a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And then, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket was like right when I was finally like 15-ish, and it was just like, okay, I have these 3 records, and this one feels like the most closely related to who I am now. But really quickly, it's like, it's a Boxcar Racer record,
Yeah, we can include the Boxcar Racer record in this.
Oh,
and plus like 44 if you want. Oh,
I just feel like I moved back from Florida and I was so depressed because I left all my friends, and I had like a great life there, and up north, like I didn't really like a lot of the things. And my friend picked me up right when I got home and was like, you have to listen to this record. It's Tom, it's Boxcar Racer. So I'm not going to include that one, but that one was also like very like a slap in the face for me at that age.
An honorable mention.
But I would say, yeah. Oh man, Nick. I'm just going to say.
Let's start with the worst. Least favorite.
Of all Blink records?
Yeah. We'll just we'll go from worst to best.
So I would say worst is anything with Skiba. Like I haven't really listened. I listened a couple times and was like, I just can't do this.
Okay. So those are both tied for the last.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
There's a couple gems off like Neighborhoods, and I liked that below that would be, or above that would be the that Boxing Day EP.
The dogs eating dogs?
What was it? Dogs? Yes.
Yeah. So
that one?
Yeah, dogs eating dogs.
Yep.
Sure.
And then I would say, I'm actually like not even remembering all their records, but I'm just gonna say my favorite would be Dude Ranch.
Dude Ranch number 1.
I'm pretty sure Dude Ranch is number 1, and if not, it would be tied with Enema. Enema would be my second, and then Take Off Your Pants.
Those are the 3. Those are your top 3.
Yep. And I to be honest, like they could probably all interchange depending on the day, but those are definitely like my top 3. Like I listen to those 3 the most, like all the time.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm not sure who would be out there being like, I don't know, Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat's the one. That's number 1 for me.
That's the one. Oh man, Ben Toozler.
Ben Toozler. I think that's Buddha. Is that on Cheshire Cat?
Oh, that is Buddha.
I think that's Buddha.
I think that's good. I think you're right.
Of course, I know that.
What about you? How would you rank them?
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, if we were going worst, I would say I would agree. I think probably 9 is the worst. Although,
oh yeah, 9.
Yeah, 9's not so good. But there's a song called "Pin the Grenade" on that record. That's great. That's like legitimately great. And I think also Skiba has more moments on that are like more Skiba-y. So like, I don't think it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be, but I also don't think it's as good. So yeah, probably 9, California. California mostly just because the John Feldman's production just drives me nuts.
Same. That's my gripe.
Yeah. And then probably Neighborhoods after that. Dogs Eating Dogs above that. Then probably like Buddha, Cheshire Cat. And then I'm trying to remember now. 2. Buddha, Cheshire Cat, and then what do we have left? Oh, Untitled. Probably after that. And then probably Dude Ranch, Enema, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Nice.
Is number 1.
Yes.
I just love that record. And I think it like perfected that, like Jerry Finn's production. We have to mention it because it's just so good. And it like was so key to like that sound. And I feel like Takeoff was like the perfection of that sound. Like I don't think that there's an album in the genre that like sounds better than that one.
Right.
And
right.
And like they didn't need a lot of studio tricks. Like he was able to get blink-182 to sound that good, which is like frankly very impressive.
Right. Yes. No, I completely agree. And was that Lord Alge on the mixing?
Tom Lord Alge, yeah, and
because he was Enema for sure, right? And
he did Enema
as well.
Yeah, let's just double check though, because we have the internet.
Yeah.
Let's see the creds. Bump into the creds here.
Bump into those creds.
We're just bumping into the creds. Wow, it's a long Wikipedia page. Production Jerry Finn, mixing Tom Lord Alge.
Nice.
And then Joe McGrath engineer.
And those were
it's great.
Those were the Mesa years too, right? Enema and Take Off Your Pants, I think, was
Mesa and Marshall.
Marshall,
yeah. He would do the Marshall. I've put way too much time into learning this. So he would do the Mesa on the dirty channel with like the gain all the way up and like really muffled. And then he would do the Marshall on the clean channel with the gain all the way up. And so that was like really clean and crisp. And then you got like the nasty fucking metal zone distortion out of the Mesa. And then when you blend it together, you get that sound. And that sound is so good. Like the guitars always just sound incredible.
Oh, I mean, Mark's bass tone is still something that I rarely hear it like in any other, like we put in pickups into something a couple months ago. And we were both, like Johnny and I were both just like, is that the Mark sound? Like it sounded the closest to Mark's bass tone, like out of the box without like a special amp or anything.
Yep.
But yeah.
It's the quarter pounder, man. It's the Seymour Duncan quarter pounder. I had a P bass built or assembled rather by our friend Ken. I feel like I should say it. He assembled it, and then our buddy Ken did that, and I was just like, if we're doing a P bass, I gotta do quarter pounder. He's like, okay.
Yeah, you gotta put him in.
the second I plugged it in, and I grabbed a pick because I just wanted to know if it's going to be that Mark Hoppus sound, and I started going. I was like, that's it. I got it.
That's it.
And
you QP'd it. So great.
I QP'd it. That's the sound, man.
I was just thinking, that is the sound. Squirrel moment. I was just thinking how if we ever do a podcast again together, we should like talk on the phone for like a week beforehand because I haven't seen you in so long.
I know.
That like this whole time I'm like, oh my God, it's Nick. It's like one of my old closest friends who I've never seen. I never get to talk to. And this whole time I'm just like, and then Nick, do you know, I want to talk to you now about this. Do you know on Boxcar Racer? And I just like keep wanting to talk to you. And I forget that we're like even recording anything or specifically talking about Blink.
That's okay. I mean, that's
wonderful.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want a natural conversation, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I could have brought out the treasure chest, and I feel like maybe you should see that stuff someday, but it's insane. I have a binder, like, you know.
I know. Oh, I remember. Because you used to like clip stuff out and make your own like fan magazine, basically.
Yes. Well, I think I like bought it off Trisha, my friend from Florida, because I think I was like, I need that. You have photos I don't have. I'll buy it from you. And I think she sold it to me.
No kidding. So somebody else
in there, I have like
and you bought it.
Most of it. I added to it for sure because I had like bootlegged pictures of like I have a picture of Mark at a show topless with like a nipple piercing, and it was just like I needed it so bad. I was like, I need that photo of Mark. Like no one has that photo, and it's an actual photo, and I'm buying it. And it's just it's still in this box that I carry around. For,
sure.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm almost 40 years old.
It's important. It's important.
It is. Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we can call it on the podcast. But Wyatt, it's just always lovely talking with you. And we can kind of catch up a little bit once we're done. But thank you for being a guest on the podcast. And thanks for being.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, and I'm so honored to be here, and I'm really happy for you, and I think this is great.
Thanks.
But seriously, thank you for letting me. This is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so much fun. All right. Thanks, bud.